Hello everyone. So this is another asynchronous lecture of database and we were continuing our transactions and concurrency control. So far we have seen in the transactions concurrency control, we have already covered classification of schedules based on serializability, that is your V serializability and conflict serializability, although we have seen a few examples as well. Our next small topic in the same now is we are going to see about classification of schedules based on recoverability. Let me focus. So classification of schedules based on recoverability. Already we know the concurrent execution may leads to a few problems in our database which are irrecoverable problem. Cascading rollback problem, and we have seen lost update problem, right? So these are the problem that we have already seen and which can we can recover, even we can avoid them using some solution for the above problem, right? So we have already seen like this problem can occur even in your serializable schedules. To avoid the problem, we have recoverable. For irrecoverable schedules, we have recoverable schedules. For cascading rollback problems, we have cascadeless rollback problem. And for lost update problems, we have even more advanced and more restricted conditions, constraints problem, that is your strict recoverable schedules. Right, so we will see what's strict recoverable schedules. So these are the solutions that can avoid our problems. So far, we have seen irrecoverable problems in our previous lectures. Also, we have seen what are cascadeless and cascading rollback problems, right? We understood what's the meaning of cascade when occurrence of one event will lead to the occurrence of other events as well. So due to rollback of one transaction, we are doing rollback a lot of other transactions just due to dirty read problem, right? So we have already seen that. Even we have seen what are the lost update problems, right? Coming up to the recoverable schedule, let's understand more about recoverable schedules. Recoverable schedules. Although we have already an idea on what are recoverable schedules, right? So I'm just writing condition schedule S. We say the schedule S is recoverable, right? So understand if and only if double conditional, that is a there is no uncommitted. Remember, there is no uncommitted read. See, understand, we have already familiar with those things. Right now I'm just stating them separately so that you will be able to remember them easily. The first condition says that there should be no uncommitted reads in your schedule, right? Or other condition probably you can check is, understand, if tj reads data item x, for example, right? So data item x, which is updated by ti, right? So which is updated by transaction ti, then remember commit of tj, we are looking at the commit of tj, we must have to delay when until we have the commit or we see the rollback of ti, right? Rollback of ti schedule. Remember, so what meaning to say? See, it means what? For example, let's say we have two transaction ti and tj, something like that. Write operation is performed by ti, that's fine, and we have the read over the same data item tj, right? So understand, it means to say now this is what dirty read. Why? Because we are reading the value from the transaction ti, right? The transaction tj, that is your dirty read. But remember, before committing this dirty read problem transaction, the ti transaction should at least even roll back or it should commit over here, right? And after this the tj transaction can commit and roll back. So this is what recoverable schedule, right? We are delaying the commit uh, or rollback for dirty read transaction. Right? So this is what recoverable schedule. Understand a few examples and scenarios, right? So we will be able to understand and categorize more all in a one with the help of these examples. So the first example, let's say we have two transactions T1 and T2. Understand these properly because these are it's a kind of summary for whatever we have done. These are the case that we may encounter in any of the example. The first one says that we have the write operation A over here, right? And then we have the read operation A in transaction T2. So now here, this transaction, let's say this rollback over here, and this is the commit operation. C1 for the transaction one and R2 that is for rollback. This is what dirty read, isn't it? But see, the problem is we are either aborting our transaction or simply we are say rollback, performing the rollback, right? And this is what the commit operation over here. Now this is what recoverable, right? But remember, this is not cascadeless. This is not cascadeless. Why? Because at this place, if it rollbacks and different transactions have read operations, this is going to change the values and all other transactions will be aborted, right? So that's why it's not cascadeless. Means it's a cascading rollback problem. And even this is not strict recoverable schedule as well. What are strict recoverable schedule we will see in a while, right? So we have the scenarios. We understood we have a dirty read. Now this problem is recoverable, but it's not cascadeless and it's not a strict recoverable schedule, right? Let's move on to the second one. Again, let's say we have two transactions and we have the operation, let's say read of A. Then again, on the same data item read of A, we have the write operation followed by another write. But see, C1, that is T1 is committing the transaction and then C2. We can see that there is no dirty read over here. There is no dirty read, right? We have these read operation, but these are not, fetched by any transaction performing the write operation on or before this operation. So there is no dirty read. Hence, we remember, see, there is no dirty read. This is what? This is your cascadeless rollback problem. Cascadeless rollback. Because we have seen in cascadeless rollback, we actually either we remove the dirty read, for example, how we read the value which is read by your committed transaction, right? So there is no dirty read means it's cascadeless rollback problem. Also, this is what recoverable when we can see this, right? But remember, this is still not strict recoverable schedule, right? So we'll show what strict recoverable. We'll come back and we'll see why it's not strict recoverable. Fine. So let's see more. Moving on to the third situation, we have again two transactions, T1 and T2 in this way. We have read A operation, then read A, write A, and then let's say commit C2, right? Then we have a write A and then commit C1. So understand, still there is no dirty. We can see that it's easy to recognize whether there is any dirty read or not. There is no dirty read again. Why? Because this read is only from this read, not from any write operation. No dirty read means it's cascadeless rollback, right? I will simply write CLR. You can understand cascadeless rollback, right? So don't confuse. It's not canonical LR, that is of compiler parser, right? So it's CLR means cascadeless rollback. Okay. So even this is what recoverable, we can see, because we are performing the commit operation before this one. This is recoverable, but remember, and we will see it's a strict recoverable as well. This is strict recoverable schedule. Very important, right? Okay. Hopefully this is clear so far till now. Let's see another. This time let's take three transactions and T1, T2, T3, right? And understand a few operations are as follows. We can take read operation now. Uh, let's say again read on B and write on B. Yeah, it will work. Now let's take write operation and read on B. Yeah, and let's say this is committing over here, then C2 and then C3. Okay, let me extend the timeline. It's here. Okay, so first thing is identify whether there is a dirty read or not. Exactly, there is what dirty read, right? Now this is also a dirty read. Also see, this is another dirty read over here on data item B, right? So there is a presence of dirty read. So definitely it's a not CLR canonical, sorry, cascadeless rollback, right? But we will see it's even not a strict recoverable schedule as well, right? You can judge on whether it's recoverable or not. It's irrecoverable. The thing is, it's obviously clear that it's not recoverable. That's irrecoverable, right? So remember. Okay, let me take another one more situation. Let's say three transactions. We will see having no dirty read, still it's CLR, that is cascadeless rollback and recoverable with strict recovery, means satisfying all the condition, right? So see, we have a read operation. Again, go back to read over here, right? Let's say this is on C. We have commit operation, read of C. Oops, it's getting low. No worries. And it's C3, and we can say write on B and commit C1, right? So is there any dirty read? Okay, no. See, this is not a dirty read. Why? Because this is committed, read by the committed transaction. Same goes here, means there is no dirty read. Yes or no, right? And see now, is this recoverable? Yeah, probably. See here, about this read, we have actually delayed this read operation over here, right? So instead of reading over here before commit of C3, we have delayed it, right? So that's why it's recoverable even. Since there is no dirty read, hence what's it's CLR, that is cascadeless rollback. And we will see that it's even strict rollback schedule, strict recoverable schedule, right? Okay. So this is what the scenarios where we have a recoverable schedules, right? Okay. Hopefully you have understood. And even in the previous class, we have seen about cascading rollback problem, right? We have seen a big disadvantage of cascading rollback. That's what the wastage of your CPU execution time and your input output execution cost, followed by your resource utilization become very poor in that case. Okay. Cascade less rollback, we have seen we delay your dirty read, then probably you have the cascadeless rollback recoverable schedules in that case. Also, we have seen about lost update problems, right? So they, yeah, we have seen in this one. Cascadeless we have seen. Now let's see strict recoverable schedule. So what are strict recoverable schedule? Strict recoverable schedules. Remember, the strict recoverable schedule, this is nothing new, but when we combine two different situations, right, and any schedule that follow these both of the condition, we say this is a strict recoverable schedule. The first one says that a schedule as must be cascadeless rollback recoverable, right? If a schedule is CLR and there is an AND situation and we have lost update problem to the restricted, means we have just restricted our lost update problem. If any schedule follow both of these condition is your strict recoverable. So this is what, let's say we have TI and TJ transactions and operations are as write on A and then we have a read on A. But before read, we should have commit or rollback, right? For lost update problem, we have delayed the read, right? For lost update problem, we have the right of A, we have the right of A over here, and this is your commit or rollback. See, this is your write operation, this is your read operation, right? Lost update means when you will recover the other transaction that have read the value that should not lost, right? So these are what both of the condition. It means what? The thing is what actually strict recoverable schedule says that if we combine both of them, that is TI and TJ transactions, we have a right of A operation, then we have either read of A or write of A. Right? We can see this. You rollback or you commit. If TI writes the data item X, right? So TI writes the data item X, it can be A or it can be whatever it can be. Then read and write of TJ must be delayed until commit or rollback of TI. Yes or no? So simply we are delaying this one here. Make sure you are working on the same data item, right? This is what strict recoverable schedules over here. In this one, now let's go back. It's not a strict recoverable. We can see this, right? So we are reading this one before this commit or rollback of this one, right? So not strict. Even not the same over here. The same case for write operation. This one over here, right? And where the rest of the examples here, even you can see it's easy to identify. This is strict recoverable. You can see over here. right? So we have delayed this write operation after this comment. This is not strictly recoverable. We can see again we have on the working on the same data item A over here. We can see that it should be delayed, but it's not. And even this is the strict recoverable. Yeah, because we have delayed this one. This one we have delayed read and write operations, right? So in this way, we can easily. It's a very easy. The thing is, we must know the concept, right? Only then it's an easy. So in this way, we identify the schedules are strict recoverable schedules or not. Let's do the classification with the help of analyze with the help of your Venn diagram. See. So let's first see the serializability classification. Serializability classification means what? First, we have serial schedules. We saw that there are some schedules which are conflict serializable, right? Conflict serializable schedules, SS. Then we saw another situation where we have view serializable schedule. Yes or no? And we have seen after that on the top, we have our concurrence schedules, right? So what the common part is serial schedule, the actual schedules which are serial, right? These are what conflict serial as well, view serial, and obviously we can find the concurrent schedules for the same, right? So conflict serializable schedules we have, right? So understand these gap. These are what? These are those conflict serializable schedules which are not actually the serial schedule, right? So actually remember one thing, schedule for example, let's talk about some schedule. Some schedule S is there, right? So schedule S preserves your integrity. Remember there is an integrity if S must be serializable and S must be strict recoverable. This is very important, right? So first of all, it should be serialized, means it should be must be serializable, means for any concurrent schedule there must be some serial schedule. We move to serializability because we have seen serial schedules keep your database consistent, right? So your database will remain or say there will be no conflict in your database, right? It will be. And the other conditions is that the schedulers must be strict recoverable. So these are the problems that we avoid just because of concurrent schedules, right? So as for that reason, we classify serializability schedules. What are the serializable schedules, right? And the other is what are recoverable schedule. So classification on your recoverability, that is what we will see. The first again we have serial schedule. Then remember we have a strict recoverable schedule. After strict recoverable schedules, we have cascade less rollback. Recoverable schedule, right? And then it comes about your recoverable schedule. And outer category is for your what concurrent schedule. See, recoverable schedule. These are what your all your recoverable schedule. But see, these are what your irrecoverable. Remember. These are those schedule which are the concurrent schedule, right? But there is a problem with their recoverability. They are not recoverable, they are irrecoverable, right? And all these schedules are your recoverable schedule. So hopefully you know this mathematical approach. There is no need to explain. That is your, this is A set, this is B set. So all the element of B set are already in A, but these are not element which are in A but not in B, right? For example, the outer of this one. So in that way, hopefully you know already, right? So and you can even make this over here as well, right? So all the strict recoverable schedules are your cascadeless rollback schedule as well, but all the cascadeless are not strict recoverable and all those things. And so you can probably, so the thing important point is we need to maintain, preserve the integrity of our database. So every schedule that maintains or preserves your data integrity must be what? Serializable, right? It must be serializable, and condition and is there, must be strict recoverable. So these two condition must be there, remember, to make, to keep any database consistent or follow, preserve the integrity, the correctness of your database, right? So hopefully you have understood so far. This was just a small topic, quick topic on a classification based on recoverability, right? In the next session, we will start our concurrency control protocol. There we will see locking protocol, timestamp protocols, and all those. So hopefully this is just a quick topic, and we have covered this. But if we, but there are a lot of concept in this topic, so that's what you need to remember. Have a revision. Let me know if you find any difficulty in any of the topic that we have covered here in this session, and we'll see you in the next video.